Well, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Ben Iiames. We are talking through the different depths of healthcare. Today, we have a very special guest. I would like for her to introduce herself. Courtney, why don't you let the people know why you're here?
So my name is Courtney Younglove. I am a physician double boarded in obstetrics and gynecology and obesity medicine. I started my career after residency in private practice OBGYN, fell in love with the field of obesity medicine, was really unable to practice that in my OBGYN practice. So eventually I grabbed my nurse and we hung a shingle and we started our own practice in the greater Kansas City area, which in hindsight is incredibly reckless and irresponsible, but at the time just felt like the right thing to do. At the time, this is way back in 2018, I think is when we opened our doors. My goal was to provide treatment for obesity in the healthcare system, utilizing the healthcare system in the way it seemed like it needed to be utilized, using health insurance to treat a chronic disease versus treating excess weight in a med spa or in a commercial space.
Sure.
And we did that initially, and it took off and it felt amazing and the practice grew like wildfire, and I just fell in love with the idea of scaling this treatment of obesity in the healthcare system for people of any means who didn't have disposable income. I mean, it really became a huge passion project of mine. And then the world started to turn upside down in the world of healthcare a few years ago, especially relating to obesity medicine. I mean, healthcare in general has kind of been on a chaotic decline and chaotic
Totally.
world. But in the field of obesity medicine, it really went topsy-turvy when these GLP-1 medications hit social media. And all of a sudden, we had this influx of fly-by-night telehealth companies compounding stuff and really trying to manipulate the system using the healthcare field.
Yep.
And everything just went bananas. And our ability to provide quality healthcare within the healthcare system was very much threatened by external forces. And over time, we had our largest carrier pull out what they call an obesity exclusion, saying they're allowed to exclude anything related to obesity, even if it's during the course of medical treatment of other diseases. And they did to some small private practices around the country, I think really to just make a point that they can contain this obesity epidemic treatment chaos that was happening. I mean, behind the scenes, it was pretty chaotic in the health insurance
Give
world.
us a little insight into that, if I can interrupt just for a second. I mean, that sounds like a wild time.
It was a wild time. It was an incredibly wild time. I mean, we had hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of patients a month. And our patient population was very different than what you would think of from a med spa or one of these telehealth populations. I think our average body mass index was 38. Our average patient had 3.5 comorbidities, I want to say. I mean, we have a very strong presence of hypertension and hyperlipidemia and diabetes and fatty liver. And I mean, we were really treating sick patients.
Yeah.
And we were treating the comorbidities along with obesity, right?
So it's very well-rounded.
It was a very well-rounded, right. We had a nurse health coach, we had a dietitian, nutritionist. Dietitian coverage is really complex, but we had a nutritionist. We really did this comprehensive treatment where we were deprescribing other medications. We were utilizing anti-obesity medications in a comprehensive type format, treating obesity and not just weight. And I mean, it really was amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm very proud of what we had built.
Totally.
And in health insurance billing, if you know much about health insurance billing, right, you have to have, there's strict criteria for the medical office visit codes that you use and the complexity of the visits and how you code for them and the wealth of the things that you are addressing. I'm fairly OCD about compliance, and we were very strict about that. That we code for hypertension if we're addressing hypertension in the process of our treatment.
That makes sense.
And we code for hypertension and obesity and all the things we're addressing in each visit, which worked out great. And it still works out great for a lot of practices around the country.
Yeah.
But we were treating obesity. The name of my company is Heartland Weight Loss, which is too late to change to Heartland Obesity.
Can't go back now.
We were doing that. But obesity was a code that we used. And so at the time when all of a sudden there was a lot of shadier places treating weight loss and throwing that code out there.
Yeah.
And AI had really come into prior authorizations and coding, scraping codes and that kind of thing. I mean, it just came up that, oh my gosh, this obesity code shows up in every one of our visits. And we code a lot. We coded a lot for what you call 99214 visits, which are
Yep.
moderate complexity visits. So
Yeah.
in healthcare, a 99213 is, oh, you have a rash, here's a cream, really a minimally complex visit. And then 99214s are the moderate complexity. And then 99215s are incredibly complex. Like those are,
Hour-long
those are,
visits. You're going over a ton of
you're
stuff.
going to the ER because, so I mean, most of ours were nine, which was a flag at the time. So it was a complexity visit combined with a diagnosis that wasn't used very much in billing.
Yeah. But you're
And
covering
so,
like 3.5 comorbidities per visit. I mean,
right,
on
but
average,
obesity
right?
was in there, and most people weren't using that code, or they had just started using that code without a comprehensive model. So I think it was just a perfect storm, right?
Wow.
So our biggest payer, which I hate the word payer, but the insurance company that has the biggest footprint in the area, 55% of the local area,
Right.
started sliding through those and then, doing what they call prepayment reviews, looking at all of them to see if they're valid. And when they were, then they went back through it and said, well, we have an obesity exclusion. We don't allow for treatment of obesity, even in the world of treating other comorbidities. And in a kind of offhand discussion with one of their medical directors, who I knew personally, I was like, what is this? I said, this lady hadn't seen a doctor in 4 years. We diagnosed her with diabetes. We sent her to an ophthalmologist, to an endocrinologist. Like we did all the, and he's like,
Full works. Yeah.
yeah, but we're trying to make a point. And I was like, okay, well, that seems like a visit that should have been covered. He's like, yes, but we're really trying to make a point to our shareholders that we're not going to allow these things to happen. So yeah. So, I mean, we had 1,000 claims either rejected or retracted in hindsight within a period of a couple of months.
My gosh.
And so we just kind of said, okay, we can't treat obesity in this
In
payer
this model.
space, right? Like and so we had to shift our business model to all of those patients. You need to pay us cash, which feels awful, but like if you want to keep coming, this is a model we can't fight, right? And
Right.
the problem is when you bill through insurance, you bill, it's a bit complex. I'm
Totally.
more than people want to know, but like we have to bill, let's say $150 because they're going to pay us 112 because that's our
Yeah.
contract,
Exactly.
right? But we have to bill 150 because their contract says they'll either pay us what the contract is or 80% of what we bill or something
Right.
crazy like that.
Right.
Like whatever, it is what it is. But
The margins are never great. Let's just make it clear for all the
yeah, and
listeners.
our margins were lower than Medicare rates.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
Medicare sets this base rate that most large companies don't have to get because they get
Right.
better contracts, but we get less than Medicare contracts because we're a little peon. But when we bill the insurance company and then they come back and say, no, we're not going to pay for that, it's going to go to your deductible or whatnot, then we have to charge the patient the 150, which is crazy because that was higher than what we would accept for
Then
cash.
you would have made. Yeah. And they're like, oh, my doctor made so much money off of me.
Right, exactly. Like you guys don't understand. Like Medicare says the fee is 125. We have to bill 150 to get 110. But then if your insurance company denies it, we have to collect the whole 150, which then felt awful. So we kind of made this like hybrid cash model where
Yeah.
patients with that payer, we charge cash, and then all the other ones we went through insurance. And really
Yeah.
straddling that fence is incredibly complex. I mean, it's
Well, yeah.
somebody's got United, but then they moved to Blue Cross, but then they moved back to United, and you're just weaving back and forth, and it's two different
It's a headache.
models. I mean, it about destroyed us
Right.
emotionally and socially and culturally, and it just was so hard that we finally looked at each other and we were like, we have to pick one or the other.
Right.
In this marketplace, we can't pick back to full insurance, so we have to
Right.
go to a cash practice. Which it took me about a year of trying to reconcile that because I never
Sure.
wanted to go into practice to charge people cash for anything.
No, you're not in this. We're not in this. I hope my listeners hear this. We are not in this business to make a ton of money.
Right. We have to make our overhead. Like realistically,
We got to just make our bills.
I have to pay my staff because they have to take care of their families. I have to pay my med mal. I have to pay my rent. I mean, you make all that list, but it's not a greed issue at all. It's really like, okay, we have to do this or we're going to
Yeah.
crush our soul. I mean,
Right.
it was so hard internally to straddle the fence between the two. And we knew we couldn't go back to insurance. I mean, going back to was just, it was just not an option.
No,
And it took, I mean, we had to downsize our staff, which is also incredibly difficult as a human being that likes other human
totally.
beings. I mean, it's just the amount of sleepless nights thinking, okay, I have to downsize
Of
my staff. I
conversations.
mean, yeah, it's really hard. So anyway, we did that. We moved to a cash model completely in January of 2025 and a much smaller practice.
Hmm.
And now that's what we do. And it's a very different model. Internally, it's so much less work.
Right.
It's just, I mean, once you get through the downsizing and you get through,
Sure.
uh,
That adjustment period was awful and ugly.
yes,
But now that you're in the flow, you're
yes,
finding that it's like, oh my gosh, this is what it was supposed to be.
this is what it's supposed to be, right? You spend most of your time and energy focused on the patients and not the
Finally.
processes and the administration and the,
Yep.
debt collection. And
Oh my gosh.
oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. So, yes, now we're in a space in a much smaller kind of niche practice that's just doing its thing. Yes, I wish we could serve the whole world.
Sure.
Absolutely. Right?
Yeah,
But
you wish you could open clinics everywhere and,
yes.
you know, have really, really affordable rates for people to be able to get the treatment that they need.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be ideal. Absolutely. And it's kind of ironic because when I talk to colleagues in large practices and
Yeah.
hospital-based practices, and I tell them that we did turn a profit in a insurance-paid practice
Yeah.
with less than Medicare rates, they just look at me like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "Actually, you can. If you do it right. If you're scrappy, right? And
Yeah.
if you're
There's a
scrappy,
way.
you can make that work, right?"
Yeah.
And yes, I can make it work in a cash-based practice without charging a fortune because we're
Yeah.
scrappy and we can do this. Like, it
Yeah. It's
people
just
just say,
limit the
"Feel it."
overhead. Things can
Yeah, I
work.
mean, you can, and some of our overhead is still left over from the big practice. Like, right now, our office space still has 7 exam rooms because at the time we were in an insurance practice, we had 3 people seeing patients all day long and
Wow.
3 like, and so even winding that into a much better business model is in the future. I'm not gonna just, defunct on a large lease, but, like, it is doable. It's just tricky, you
It's
know?
just you have to work a little bit harder on the front end, it sounds like, just
Yes,
to be able to make sure that all everything's canceled out
right,
or, you're not
right.
super negative in any specific department, right?
Right, exactly. You really have to look at operations, which, I mean, when I just
Is that a
started a
skill that
practice
you've
and found a
learned?
shingle, I was like, "I'm just gonna do the right thing and it'll all work out." And that's really not gonna happen. But,
Yep.
but if you
Yep.
can look at operations and you can really, I mean, I run spreadsheets just for fun because spreadsheets help me understand the world. And
Yeah.
so, if you can dive into that and figure it out, it is doable.
Yeah. I was going to say, so physician trained, double board certified, but did you ever get an MBA or, how did you get? I mean, most physicians that I talk to that own their own business just say blood, sweat, and tears. That's how I learned how to do the things.
Exactly. It's all blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I
Yeah.
truly just started reading books because I was like, well, I don't know.
There
I
you
got to
go.
figure this out. I started asking everyone that would be willing to talk to me. I mean, the amount of conversations I have had about, what do you know? Will you share it with me? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and then I am an information nerd. I mean, I'm in the
Of
car a
everything.
lot. I listen to podcasts all the time. I speed read just because I speed read. And so I can absorb a lot of information and synthesize it and then, voice to text it back into a document and then organize it. Like,
Love
to
it.
me, it's just education. And we are in a time in the world where education is out there. I mean, you can learn everything you need to learn for free on podcasts and YouTube and audiobooks and written books. And I have a gazillion books that I've highlighted and taken screenshots of and,
Yep.
yeah, I
The
mean, it's
information is
just
out there.
it is.
And
It's
if you're
yeah.
willing to look for it.
If you're willing to look for it and willing to filter through and go, "Well, that's not worthwhile information. I'm gonna get rid of that." Yeah, I mean, there's so many things to learn. If I could just learn for a living, I would. I mean, I'm just addicted to learning, but
Full-time
it's all out
student of
there.
the world. We'll say student of the world.
Yes, exactly, because there's more things outside of medicine that I really want to learn about that I have to keep putting in buckets of, like, not right now. And that's
I
really
know
why
it.
I walked away from OBGYN at the time is I can't keep up with everything happening in women's health and everything happening in obesity medicine and
Yeah.
do a good job of both of those. Like, it just, and business. I mean, it just wasn't doable.
Right. Yeah, oh man, that would be so hard just to balance two different, I mean, they are different specialties. Obviously, there's a little bit of crossover.
Right.
Hypertension, you have experience with that.
Right.
Hypertension in pregnancy, though, is a little bit different than hypertension in
It is.
non-pregnant patients, right?
Yeah. And then
And
all the
so,
gynecology stuff. I mean, oh my lord, like there's a lot happening, right?
so
I
much
mean,
happening.
a huge portion of my population is women during perimenopause and menopause,
Hmm.
and that's a big passion of mine.
Wait, currently or
I'm
it
there.
was?
Huh?
Currently in your practice
Current
now or
yes,
it
I mean,
was?
that
Okay.
tends to be a big demographic of people
Right.
seeking out weight management, especially those that are drawn to somebody who has a background in OBGYN. I mean, I think it just kind of works out
Hmm.
that way, but
Hmm.
and those are my people. I mean,
Totally.
they're my people socially, personally, they're my favorite demographic, and so I've really kept up on the menopause, perimenopause space
Yeah.
because that is doable, but, like, things are happening in the world of baby birthing that I have no idea, right? I mean, I've heard they're going back to insulin for treatment of gestational diabetes. We weren't doing that when I walked away. I mean, it was
Crazy.
there, but like, yeah, I mean, there's new birth control, there's new, PAP guidelines. I can't keep up with all of that. I
And
have to keep up
it's
with
always changing. I mean,
it
if
is.
you're not in it every day, then you're
Yeah.
going to come back after what, 15 years, 10 years and just be like,
Yeah.
what happened to the practice that I was
Right.
specializing in?
Right. So that's where I was like, I need to focus on what I do know, adults, obesity treatment, like that's really my niche. So I've stayed in that space.
And tell us more about like specific things that you're doing with your patients. So let's talk about like the different innovations that are different. So we talked about GLP-1s and how that kind of screwed up the whole marketplace in and of itself. People can get online and talk to
Right.
somebody and then they get a medication and this
They
much
don't even have to
information
talk
about
to
how to
somebody.
use
They just
it.
have to fill out a Google form,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like some doc in a box like
Yep.
somewhere virtually says, "Yep,
Yep.
you can take it.
Yep.
We don't know anything about your medical history, but sure,
Okay. Doesn't matter, right? Somebody's
doesn't
always willing
matter."
to put their license on the line for profit. I mean, we've seen
Mhm.
a lot of it. It really makes me sad that my peers are doing that.
Yeah.
It really does. It's just not what we went into this field for. Or you can go next door to the med spa who's going to give you something that they're getting from China, along with your Botox. If you do the both together, you can get a discount, whatever. Yeah, that world has popped up and it's not right. I mean,
Sure.
obesity treatment, treating the disease of obesity using ethics and evidence-based
Yeah.
medicine and comprehensive treatment the way it's supposed to be is what we do, which is very, very different. I mean, we really
Yeah.
look at the whole person. What
Yep.
are we trying to achieve? And what are we trying to treat? I mean, a lot of our patients come to us because they want to treat weight. We want to treat adiposity. We don't want them to lose just weight. We want them to lose adipose tissue, which is a
There's a
very
difference. Yeah,
different strategy than just losing weight. I mean, I did a
totally.
colonoscopy a couple of years ago again, and every time I do a colonoscopy, I lose like 10 pounds in the prep. That's great, but that's not weight loss.
That's not good weight.
No, I mean, it does. You do feel smaller, but it's really not weight loss. That's
Right.
truly just removing the contents of your gastrointestinal tract,
Yep.
for short term reasons, which is
And it
a
will come
valid
back.
reason, but it's going to come back. And so we don't chase that metric at all. So we look at it like, what are we trying to lose? What are we measuring? So we measure body composition at all
Hmm.
of our visits every month through the whole course of treatment and say, how much adipose tissue do you have? How much
Hmm.
skeletal muscle mass do you have? And every month we measure that and say, are we losing adipose tissue? Are we losing lean mass? Is it water weight? Is
Yeah.
it muscle mass? Like, are we doing the right thing?
Yeah.
And so to me, that's a foundational piece of treatment. And it's one of the things that until the technology improves, you really do need an in person visit to measure that. I
It's
mean,
true.
the
It's
body
true.
composition devices that we use are like 10 grand. I mean, they're more than
I
my
was gonna
2
say, what
cars.
are you using the full body kind of scan things for
That
the body comp?
we don't do the DEXA because of the radiation, piece of it, and the
Sure,
machine
sure,
is like
sure.
$1 million, and we don't have that kind of, profit margin. But the
Right.
body composition machines that are 4 points that you hold, 4 points, and it does a full body scan, and
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I'm familiar.
you can kind of do a homemade version of one of those at home, but they're not great, and these have been validated against DEXA.
Right. Right.
So we do that. We make a spreadsheet of every patient, every visit of where have you been? What's it doing?
Where are we
We write all
trending?
over it of like, we did this and this happened. And we measure waist circumference because that's
Yep.
a proxy for visceral fat loss, which is,
Right.
which is the most important adipose tissue we want to be losing.
That's the one that's yeah.
And so we direct our treatment based on that. We just started measuring grip strength to look into muscle function. We don't know what
Huh.
that means yet, but like,
Okay.
okay, maybe if we're losing muscle mass, but our function is preserved, are we less worried? Like, right
Sure.
now we're just
Interesting.
collecting the data, but to me it's important. I mean, we measure vital signs, right? If we're managing hypertension as part of your obesity comorbidity,
Yeah.
You should measure your blood pressure, right? These are things that we do. We do a pretty thorough laboratory evaluation. If somebody's already had that with their primary, we take that. It's important to me to know what's happening inside the body. And then we do
Yeah.
a lot of external, like, how are you feeling? How is your quality of life? Right?
Yeah. Do you talk about, the mental health
The
and
Lord,
that
yeah.
kind of
Well,
aspect as
I mean, we
well?
talk about it all the time.
I was gonna say, because you didn't touch on it yet, and I'm like, I feel
Yes,
like she's
yes.
gonna get to it.
Yes, yes. So the physical piece of it all, yes, is so we look at it like there's 4 pillars of what we're doing. We're doing the
Okay.
medical interventions piece, which is just key, right? Like, that's the thing that distinguishes us from everything else out there, is this really robust evidence-based medicine piece. And in that piece, we use anti-obesity medications, but not simply to just make you less hungry so life can move on, right? So we can
Yep.
treat the underlying cause of
Yep.
the excessive adipose tissue accumulation. So we
Hmm.
really work on insulin and cortisol and dopamine and the hormones
To
driving the
say people don't address
processes,
that.
which is awesome. Like, what we do
Yeah.
is really awesome.
Totally.
And then we say, okay, so how do we do this? Well, there's a nutritional intervention piece, right? That's how we start addressing insulin and cortisol. So we work really hard on nutrition, probably more than people want us to, but we really work on not calories, but nutritional biochemistry. We work on movement when it's time, and when people have the capacity to do that, because it is a piece of wellness. It's not a huge piece of weight loss, but it's a piece of wellness. And then the big pillar that we work on is what we call behavior and psychology, right? Like, everyone knows they should eat broccoli and chicken for dinner and not a burger, but why do they choose not to? Some of
Right.
that is biology, and some of that is deeply rooted psychology and behaviors and habits and
Hmm.
systems. And that's, if you look
Formation,
behind me,
even
that
you
is
could
like a
say
huge
family
piece
formation.
of what we really have to implement. We
Yeah.
have some coaches we work alongside, because obviously we can't do all of that in
Yeah.
a, fee for service kind of cash-based model where we are really good at medical interventions, but the behavior
Right.
psychology. But
You
I
have to
mean,
kind of refer out for that.
yeah, I mean, we send our patients. I've made more videos in my life than you can imagine. Every patient, for a year gets a weekly video talking about something in that realm, the handouts, like, they get
Yeah.
newsletters. We kind of overwhelm them with the behavior psychology piece, with the idea that, yes, most of the behavior's been driven by biology, but once it's there, it's very deeply rooted. So as we're
Right.
fixing biology, we have to untangle the other pieces. So
Yeah.
that
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 makes sense.
that's my love.
I mean, it makes sense why you love it because it's so comprehensive, right? I mean, in my practice, I see, okay, what are you here for? And I say, I'll address that. And then I'll take a look at what the complicating factors could be.
Yeah,
And then once I've addressed that, you're good to go.
yeah,
Right. And that's how most medical practice really is now. But also with this fee for service kind of model, I'm assuming you're not as constrained by time with your
right.
patients,
We
correct?
have more time, absolutely, and our time is spent talking to the patient and not doing tchotchke tight, I mean, yes, like, it's amazing when you really just need to document what you need to document, so next time you see them, you remember what you talked about. I mean, it's amazing.
They stated that their dog is not in good health.
Right, I mean, right, you can just say, yeah, I mean, mom's sick in hospital, struggling with lifestyle interventions, like, okay, that sums up a lot to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to hit the criteria to make a 99214, and I can just write, "Hey, we lowered dose of metoprolol in half." Great. I know what that means. They know what that means. I don't have to give a whole bunch of rationale to justify it so we
Yeah.
can code it, right? Like, it's amazing how when you get all that time with the patient facing forward, you can do so much more.
So much more. I mean, that's what I was sold going to PA school
Yeah,
was, hey, physicians don't have much time for patients. So,
yeah,
they're doing busy admin stuff. So you get to go to PA school to become a patient facing person. You get hour with each patient,
yeah.
hour and a half with each patient. And then you get into the actual practice and they're like, hey, make sure you see 1.3 people per hour. And I'm like, what's a zero point 0.3 of a person?
I know, right? Right? I mean,
They're a measuring block. They're not
right.
actually like a human at that point. And it sounds like what I really am encouraged by is you're bringing humanity back into your
Yes,
medicine, right?
yes, yes. It's hard for people sometimes to see the value of that, though, and that's really been the interesting shift in
Yeah.
this direct pay model versus, being
I'm sure there was some abrasion, some kind
there's
of
some abrasion
abrasive,
and there's people that really don't value it. And that has become a
right?
source of frustration to me of, like, I just want a prescription. And I was like, well, then we're not probably the right place for you, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not terribly particular about who gives you the prescription and why they give it to you and the quality of the prescription and the follow up around it, like,
Yeah.
you're not my people.
You're probably not a good fit. You
Right.
want people who are comprehensive. I mean,
Right.
you're trying to
You
be
want
that
people
way
that
with your patients, so
want
you want that reflected.
exactly. And we kind of look at it behind the scenes as some people want treatment and some people just want management, right? And
Yeah.
management is a prescription and treatment is treating the person and the
Yep.
things surrounding the disease state.
Yep. I mean, yeah, the magic pill does exist, right? But is it best for you? I know. We could go into that. That's a whole nother hour spiel.
It is. That's a whole nother hour spiel. And it's funny how it's been co-opted, right? Like if you look at this, and this is just a, 2-minute rant, but if you look at the studies that the drug companies put out there to
Yep.
get the FDA approval of their
Get the
meds,
approval.
they had incredibly comprehensive wraparound treatment, 36 visits in 52 weeks with this many touch points. And I mean, it was comprehensive treatment. And that gave them the 15 and 21% averages. If you look at the real world data of what happens when somebody gives you a prescription and says, come back in 3 months for a refill, that data is less than half. It's right. Like
It's like, why didn't we? I mean, you guys saw you set up this model, you set up this testing, and it worked that way. Yeah, right. So why not approve it to continue that same model,
right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a source of frustration. And
Totally. What
but
are you
whatever.
seeing? So what are we seeing? So January was a big shift. I mean, your full fee as of, 8, 9 months at this point. Obviously, it sounds like you probably had to let go a lot of staff. I don't know if providers had to leave as well. And are you the sole physician now, or do you have any?
No, I have 2 nurse practitioners that see most of the patients. So
Sure.
when we dropped that first payer, when we really had that big shift, there was
Yeah.
more patients than there were staff because we had been in a huge growth mode. I mean, we were on like a 4-month waiting list at that time. So I had just onboarded 2 new nurse practitioners to really help,
Yeah.
shoulder the workload. And at that time I didn't want to get rid of anybody. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a practice owner.
Well, because you probably hire family or people who
I
have
mean,
the same
I
energy that
yeah,
you
have
do.
our family, but yeah, they're my people, right? Like I care about them a lot. And so and at the same time all of that was happening, my mom had been hospitalized and then passed away. It was this really traumatic event in my life. I spent most of my days at the hospital as her primary caregiver,
Yeah.
as the only one in the family that's medical, that had 9 specialists that wanted to talk about her care every day. Like it
Gosh.
became a full-time job. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just go fight all of this behind the scenes stuff from the
Yeah.
hospital room, and back away from patient care. And
Yeah.
then when our patient volume dropped at that time, I was like, well, there's not much point in me coming back into patient care. I'm going to go write letters. And so I just worked on advocacy and fighting. And I mean, the
Yeah.
amount of letters I've written is just almost insane, which is fine. And so they kept doing the patient care. And, as we shifted that, I kind of stayed on the backside of, all right, now we
Yeah.
have to shift operations, right? Operations are hard. And that's the one thing I know a lot about. So I've come back into patient care a little bit, but my 2
Okay.
nurse practitioners do most of it. And I still do a great deal of advocacy and writing and speaking and really trying to, I take 10 years of patient care experience and leverage that in a one to many. So that's kind of been where I've been. I love the patient care, but it seems like I can do better in the world going one to many.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I see that.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I mean, it's always good to be patient facing. So you still have that.
yeah, yeah. And it reminds me why I do it. I mean,
Totally.
you got to do it, right?
Yeah. And when you get to know their lives so well,
Yeah,
it's hard to disconnect from that.
yeah, yeah,
You're like, I've been with you on this journey.
yes.
Let's say, I mean, some of the patients you're probably seeing right
Years.
now
Yeah,
have been years worth and have
yeah.
been all through all those struggles with you and practice adjustments,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're
So
like,
being in there is good, but there is a balance of, yes, being in there is good, but I really feel called to do more at scale and
sure.
figuring that piece out and developing that credibility and that platform. And, I mean, right
So
now,
let's hit,
so much advice is coming from influencers that really don't have the background. They have a
yep,
great deal of experience in their own journey, but how do
that's
you do
not
that at
professional though.
scale? Right, exactly. And I'm not gonna become an influencer. I don't have that in me. I don't like social media, but how can I leverage what I know to bigger audiences? And so I've been doing a lot of speaking and I really enjoy public speaking. So
Good.
that's been yeah, I do. I love it.
Good. I mean, that's great. And that's, I mean, you're so passionate about the things that you've noticed and the things that you've learned in your journey is that you just want to get it out there. Like,
Yeah,
I have too much good that I know of. Let me
yeah.
tell people about
I
it.
have so much to say. Like I spoke last weekend and I was like, I only have like 45 minutes, guys. Oh, I can only say so much.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you kind of already shared a little bit about it, but what have you seen since you made the shift in January? What have been the biggest hurdles to kind of to your business plan now that you're kind of obviously you're in a flow right now.
Mhm.
It's not as scalable as it initially was.
Right.
But what are some of the biggest hurdles to that now that you're noticing? Is it marketability? Is it,
It's yes, it's learning
getting your
marketing.
name out
I mean,
there? I mean,
it's yeah, because all of a sudden, instead of paying billers and coders, you're paying marketing dollars, which is so hard to wrap your head around. But B is how do you market something that isn't sexy? I mean, what we do is not clickbait sexy, right? Saying like we're
right.
going to treat the whole person, we're going to treat adiposity, we're going to take care of you as a human being, we're going to, we care about your long-term trajectory and not getting weight regain. That's
Yeah.
not really sexy when the med spas and the telehealth, fee for prescription services can go,
Those are
lose
the
20
sexy
pounds in
sides.
20 days, like, special
Yeah.
discount, 199 a month. Like, I can't do
Yeah.
that. And so
Right.
it's really trying to navigate that completely different realm that patients don't see the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my biggest hurdle is how do you help people understand that it's it's there's 2 different pathways, and I want you to
Right.
choose the healthy one that, that you're not
And
gonna
can
see me in a
it's like,
sarcopenia clinic someday
yeah.
because you have no muscle mass when you're 70.
Yeah. But can also it's also like, I mean, you probably felt this. If you spend $1 on a Google ad, like, is that actually going to be an ad that returns a
No,
profit? Because
not most of the time.
I don't
Because if
think
you
so.
look at what people Google, they just Google, like, semaglutide near me, right?
Yep.
Like, and
Yep.
I'm not gonna I ethically can't jump onto that kinda clickbaity world, but yeah, I mean, so that's been my biggest struggle is really I know there are people I mean, I have, a few hundred of them right now that come see us that totally get it. But finding those gems in the world of people that really and it's not their fault. They're stuck in diet culture. They're stuck in God bless marketing is so powerful from these big, huge companies. You
Right.
know, they're
Right.
just so powerful and they say what people want to hear. So yeah, and I'm hoping that there is a space that we can stay and find those right people without constantly spinning wheels.
Right.
Right now, it feels like I'm spinning a lot of wheels to find those people.
Sure.
And of course, everybody on LinkedIn that does marketing wants to reach out and tell me how they can find it for me for, $5,000 in 30 days. And yeah, I can't.
You're like, well,
Yeah,
what do you how do you know?
I know exactly. So, I mean, it's been a work in progress. I know more about marketing than probably
That
99%
was my next
of people I
question.
know.
What have you learned? I mean,
Oh
you've
Lord.
probably read every book and listened
Yeah,
to every
I've read, I mean,
podcast
not
about it
every
so far.
marketing book, but lots and lots of them. And there are some good ones out there, but most of them are geared toward say what people want to hear and give them a money back guarantee. And, like
Yeah. Like,
it's
I'm not in
maybe
that
more dated.
business. That's not our business. If they don't lose the weight in X amount of time, it's not this like
Right,
instant return kind of thing. We're here to
right,
treat the patient, and it's
right.
not always perfect, and it's very subjective too. I think
Exactly. Right.
that's not emphasized as much, you know?
Exactly. And one of the best things we do sometimes is identify somebody with binge eating disorder and say, I want you to stop seeing us and go see a binge eating therapist first.
Yeah.
Because that is, and we're going to send you out the door, right? Like, you're welcome to come back, but like, this is more important. Or,
Yep.
you know what, this isn't a good time for you. I mean, I had one lady that came in and her husband had just been moved to hospice. And I was like, you are trying to control something that is so irrelevant right now. Like, I want you to come back a year from now, after you've grieved through this process with your husband, like, I'm not going to fire you, but lady, this is not what you need right
You're
now.
like, I could take your money, but I'd rather help you.
Yes. And so, right. And that's poor marketing, but it
Right.
feels right. And most marketing want
It's
to give us
ethical.
before and after pictures, which I refuse to do because there is no after, right? There's before and
Yep.
now, but that doesn't even sum up what matters. So, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the things, and God bless it, every last one of them that wants to send me a RFP, whatever, a proposal thing. There's some picture of some skinny white girl with a tape measure around her slender little belly, like gross. So, you
Yep.
know,
Anti.
yeah.
I mean,
So,
it's treated, so we could say this analogy. It's treated as if the weight loss paradigm should be a 100-meter dash, and you started here and you ended here.
yeah. Yep.
When
And
really,
everything's roses when you get to the end.
yes, but really it's the Pacific Coast Trail, it's the Appalachian Trail. It's
Yeah.
how are you along the journey?
Yes. Yes.
You know,
And
it's
that journey is so varied and it doesn't have to end
exactly.
at an end point, right? Like the
Yeah,
journey is the journey, right? That's how
the
we
journey is the
learn.
journey.
and I'm really okay if you just want to lose 5% of your weight and lower your blood pressure medicine. Like,
That's it.
I don't need you to get a fabulous BMI. I don't care what you look like. So,
Totally.
yeah,
And maybe you even help them get off of their blood pressure medicine by just lifestyles, you
right,
know?
exactly, right?
But,
So,
I mean,
yeah,
in our medical practice, we're trained to say, oh, you have this issue, let's start on some pills most of the time, right?
yeah,
In our education, but we're not trained as much with like, hey, what are the social factors affecting
yeah,
your situation right now?
yeah,
What aren't we doing? And what is part of your kind of grow up routine that you've learned,
right,
right? That we
right.
haven't even addressed.
And why do we have hypertension in the first place? If we're not addressing that, I mean, medicine calls it essential hypertension, which means we don't have a freaking clue why you have it. I mean, I can tell you why you have it, right? I mean, you would get inflammation in the blood vessels and a high level of insulin, and it's going to, and so let's fix that. And
Yeah.
as long as the blood vessels still have flexibility in them, we might be able to stop a blood pressure medicine. If they're too rigid from years of abuse, we're probably going to stay on blood pressure medications. Like,
Yep. Yep.
okay, but yeah, like trying to figure out the why is the coolest part of this job. And
Yeah.
understanding the why instead of just prescribing. Like de-prescribing medications is so much fun in medicine.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Hey,
so
you
much
don't
fun.
have to be on this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and people love it, but we love it, I think, even more. I mean,
Well, because it actually shows progress,
yeah,
for the stuff that we've been like trying to
yeah,
teach and implement, right?
yeah, yeah. It's super fun. It's very addictive. I mean, anybody who's really practicing evidence-based obesity medicine, like, we
Right.
just light up when we start talking about, the fatty liver's going away, right? You're getting off of these medications. You are actually watching people's health-related quality of life improve instead of
So
just
cool.
prescribing stuff, you know?
So cool. So
So,
cool. So what do you see? I mean, obviously we know the goals for your patient care. What do you see the goals as of, I mean, we're ending this year kind of Q4, but what are we looking forward to in this ending of the year and 2026 and beyond for you and your practice?
in my world or in the world of obesity treatment, because those are 2 different things.
Then let's just say yes. Address one and then we'll shift to the addressing of the other.
So, I
The
think
ones you can control, I should say, or
the
have
ones
more
I can
influence on.
control. I would say, I mean, lots is going to happen in the world of obesity treatment. Probably not all positive. We're getting more
Right.
and more medications, and those are going to get co-opted. I already have people going, "Hey, what about this retatrutide? Like, that's still in phase 3 trials. Why would I give that to you?" So like, I think we're going to get more and more noise, and it's going to get more and more mucky, and we're going to get less and less coverage and more disrupted coverage for these
Yep.
medications.
Yep.
I think the coverage for medical office visits is probably plateaued out and it's happening, but who knows? There's a lot of things I can't control there, but I feel like it's still going to be Jumanji for a long time in the medical space. In my world, personally, I feel like we're going to keep seeing the right patients and doing the right thing and learning from them, which matters. And I'm going to keep speaking. So I've been doing a lot of speaking. I think that's where I want to go professionally. I've been working on a book because it matters to me and it's been on my bucket list to write a book forever,
So cool.
and hopefully I can get that out into the world, and that will be what I know from, 25 years of medicine and 10
Yeah.
years of obesity medicine and all of the tens of thousands of people that I've touched. Like, what have they taught us, and how can we leverage that to change
Totally.
obesity treatment, be the way the world looks at having excess weight, and
Right.
see policies around obesity treatment? It's
Yeah.
lofty, but like, I want to do that. And if it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. I felt great writing it. So,
Yeah. You
you
got
know,
your thoughts on a paper.
yeah.
That's mostly what it is.
Yeah. And
You
sitting
put
back
yourself
and
out there.
saying, right, like the one thing I know in this world is patient care, right? Those of us that have done patient care for 25 years, we probably are really good at seeing patterns within people. We are. I mean, that's
Right.
medicine is pattern recognition
Yep.
and then
Yep.
applying pattern recognition, in a way that makes sense. So
Right.
I have that in two different fields that are related but separate. And then the understanding of the healthcare system, like the behind the scenes piece that most of my peers don't know, right? Most of my peers don't understand contracts and and Medicare fee schedules and what happens when things are denied and how do you do appeals and how do you appeal to
Right.
the insurance commissioner and what do you know about PBMs and what do you know about, you know, large groups, small groups,
Sure.
self-funded, like, oh my gosh, the things that I've learned
Yeah.
are huge. Like, can I help apply that to the world that doesn't understand that could benefit from understanding that? Because I think there's
Yeah.
so much muck in there that people don't understand that it's easy to go, well, the doctors are greedy or the health insurance companies just, want to make money. I mean,
Right.
I have a lot of
Right.
thoughts on that, but like, Yeah,
A lot of
where are
education
the
you could provide.
incentives? Yeah, so to me, if I can get that out there and 5 people read it and maybe change the way they practice medicine or they set up practices, or maybe,
Yeah.
large employers can use that information to craft a better benefit plan so that they
Yep.
aren't being taken advantage of. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah. Education and getting it out there, and then you make an impact, and then that's the
Yeah.
win.
Yeah, and then more people can do what we did without me having to employ them and go through
Right.
all the gut-wrenching heartache of having all those people underneath you, because I'm not a manager of people. It's not my skill set. I don't really
Totally.
wanna have a massive practice again. It was soul crushing.
A
So,
massive practice was soul crushing. It might have been really exciting in the moment.
exciting but exhausting,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
But now I'm glad you found some rhythm.
yeah,
That's what it sounds like, at least I'm
yes,
hearing.
yes.
Finding a good, healthy rhythm.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
that to me is where I wanna go with it of, yeah, I mean, like, let's start pulling the pieces together and speaking to the people that really wanna hear it and that
Yeah.
do something with that information instead of just complaining of my health insurance denied my colonoscopy, I hate them.
Right.
Okay, right? And my doctor's
Right.
greedy because they charge $6,000 for a colonoscopy. Okay,
Yeah.
like, let's get beyond some of this stuff, right? Like, your doctor probably got paid $200 to do it, regardless of what was charged, if they got paid. And they should have gotten paid, right? Like, they have a skill set that's very, very niche, and so,
I
that's
mean,
my
that's just how, yeah, it's changing the perspective. I think I think you just expressed kind of a really good kind of closing piece in that sense too, of just everything that you desire, everything that you're looking forward to. I mean, how many times do I walk into a patient room and somebody's like, they're here for something that's bothering them enough to bring them to the hospital. Normal people don't like going to the hospital to be seen, right? But it's a reactive care rather than a
Yes,
proactive care at that point.
yes,
But
yes,
then they're like, you're going to just bill me $1,000 for whatever we do. And I'm like, you know, I don't make any of that money.
right.
Honestly, all the testing we're going to do is probably going to be billed for hundreds, maybe $1,000, maybe
Right.
more. But you know how much I see of that?
None,
Actually,
right? I don't benefit from any test I run. I
I
don't
don't
benefit
either.
from any
Yeah.
prescription I write. Like,
Yeah.
and I think some
Don't
of
see
that.
us as the bad guy.
Yeah, I know. I do financially collect money for giving you my services just like a
Yep.
lawyer does, right? Like,
Yep.
I have 25 years of experience in a niche specialty, and my time is worth money. But even all that money doesn't go to me. It goes to my overhead, it goes to my med mal, it goes to my EHR fees, it goes to my licensing fees, it goes to my rent and my electricity and my internet. Like,
Everything takes away from it. And then you get the very, very last of the leftovers to pay your bills for the home that you live in.
right, exactly. And that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not independently wealthy. I can't just give away, everything I do. But I think somehow if we can shift that narrative that, like, doctors, at least now, I mean, in this new telehealth prescription as a service, they are capitalizing on the sale of medications, which I feel is not ethical because it does change your patterns of treatment, right? If you know you're going to make money by giving somebody a compounded GLP-1, you're going to give them that.
Right.
You are. I mean,
Totally.
consciously, subconsciously, why would you give them a prescription for metformin and maybe some phentermine they can get over at the pharmacy for $20 and the pharmacy can make money off of that? That's their job. But if you can make $25 by passing them through this drug that you are now prescribing them through a, third party,
Middleman.
blah, 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 blah. Oh, just doesn't feel right to me.
Totally. I'm with it. I'm with it. Let's
So,
fix the system as best we can.
I mean, I guess
And
we
that's
could
what you're
set it
here
up
for.
like
I hope,
lawyers. Like, do you want point 0.6, percent of my time? Or I don't know. I don't know how we
yeah,
do that in
exactly.
medicine, but like, and what's my time worth?
Yeah. I mean, they charge 300 an hour. You're not charging that much.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I think there's room for change, but I think it involves a lot of transparency
yep.
we don't have in healthcare.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Now, where can Heartland Weight Loss is your clinic? Where can people connect with you, connect with your services, or kind of follow up on what you're doing in the world?
So heartlandweightloss.com is
Okay.
just heartlandweightloss.com.
Easy.
There's some other Heartland weight loss things in the world because I'm not a marketer. And when I started this business, I didn't look really hard at those things. So anyway,
Sure.
heartlandweightloss.com in Overland Park, Kansas. And we're brick and mortar, right? You have to come in and see us,
Yeah.
which is limiting. So we can't see people in New Jersey and Nevada and that kind of thing unless they want to come
Sure.
hang out in Kansas, which they could. It's actually a really cool little city.
Little
Besides
pitch
sports, we
there.
actually do have a really cool city.
Yeah. Side little pitch there.
Yeah, cool place. And so that's where and we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and a TikTok page and these things that we put content out in the world that people can just learn from. So, I mean, that's there. It's just content that is trying to help the world. I tend to live personally on LinkedIn as a human being that's fighting the system. My patients don't care so much about my fight, and so I leave that off of our company. So they should, but they just
Smart.
don't. So I live on LinkedIn as a human being that's trying to change the world
Sure.
as Courtney Younglove. I mean, that's just who I am. So
That's who you are. You are
that's
who
who I
you
am.
are.
It's pretty easy. So
Well, I hope my listeners can see that we are trying to do good. There are providers out there who are trying to do good and not just cogs in the wheel and slaves to the system, but they want to work better for your health. So grateful that we got the chance to highlight you today. Really appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, have a good day. Hope for big dreams to come true.
Thank you. Have a good one.